Growing up in Britain, but as part of a sort of South Asian diaspora, was big in ways that I didn't expect. And there was a sort of transformative moment for me that I remember. I think I was about 6 years old, and my parents had taken me and my brother to India so that we would know what it is to be Indian, and we would learn some Gujarati, which is the language that my parents spoke at home. And we were at a stoplight in Bombay, I think, and we were inside a taxi, and it was raining. And all of a sudden, there was this knocking sound at the window, sort of tap, tap, tap. And outside of the window was a girl. I mean, I imagine she was an adolescent, and in her hands was a tiny baby. And the baby was crying and crying and crying. And there was screaming outside the car, and she was tapping on the window asking for money. And soon there was screaming inside the car because I was howling. I wanted it to stop. I wanted my parents to give her some money. And then as we sort of drove away from the lights, I kept on howling. And I wanted to know why that was. Why was she out on the outside of the car, and why were we on the inside? Why does she not have a home and we did? How comes we could afford to fly to India and she could she was begging at a streetlight? Now that kind of experience, I mean, I'm not trying to make myself out as anyone special. I mean, everyone has that moment. I mean, one of the most sort of something you're guaranteed to hear in any playground are howls of "that's not fair." I mean, we all have that. But for me, that moment never really left me. I still carry that little girl around with me. And after that happened, I went back to Britain, and I started sort of renting out my toys to my friends, and their parents would give them pocket money so that they could play whatever toy it is that I had, and I would give that money to charity to aid. I mean, the thing in the news then was the famine in Ethiopia, so we sent the money off to Ethiopia, and I found myself to be a sort of junior capitalist turned philanthropist. But there's only so much toy rental that you can do before you realize that actually the problem is still there. And being exposed to actually the persistent problems in India year after year made me realize that actually short-term fixes like sending overseas aid, while tremendously important, are not sufficient. And you need to get to the deeper root causes of things. And I studied in Britain and in the United States and in South Africa, both looking for those answers and also learning from people who purported in some cases and who actually did in other cases have answers to how to address the deeper root causes of poverty.